Yo, what's up, guys? It is officially Wednesday. For those of you that were with us for college basketball, welcome back. Long time no see. We got Ski Profit here making his first appearance on the show from Wager Talk. And then obviously Prop Beaver is here. Prop Beaver, you're pretty heartbreaking last night, bro. There was one. Which one of your bets were we rooting on that should have? Oh, no. It hit. The Thompson one hit for you. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
Yo,
the Emmett Thompson one was almost catastrophical, but I almost quit the season last night. That's how pissed I was.
He said, I'm done. I'm ready for baseball. He said that. All right. So only 7 games. Not the prettiest looking slate, but actually Prop Beaver likes it. He said, I kind of like the slate. His exact words.
Yeah, I think there's some angles.
Well, I'm anxious to hear said angles. The first game is Raptors on the road at Charlotte. Let me get the poll running. Totals at 225.5. Prop Beaver, why don't you share one of your angles with us?
Number one, we're going back to the builder, people. We got a Raptors SGP, my bad. We got Quickly 6+ assists, total 8+ rebounds. I wanted to bet Quickly's regular assist line. I went to bed last night. It was at +110. I'm like, all right, I want to see if it goes down a little, if it goes up a little. It was at -135 when I woke up, so that sucked. So I pivoted to this. Quickly has had 6+ assists his last 6 to 7 games. In his last 5 with Barrett and Barnes active, he's 4-1, averaging 8.8 assists per game. And as a Raptor, 53% of his assists have come at the rim. The Charlotte defense, 26th in rim frequency and 27th in efficiency their last 10 games, allowing the 3rd most rim field goals made. And they're also allowing the 5th most assists per game and 3rd most assists per game to point guards over the last 30 and last 2 weeks. So love the matchup for Quickly there. As far as total, it feels like they're still giving us a discount due to him coming back from injury and them ramping him up. But he played 18 first half minutes last game. I think he would have hit 33 about if it wasn't such a blowout against the Pels. And then he hit 33 the game before that with just 22+ minutes a season. He's 25-6, averaging 9.3 rebounds per game. With 25+, he's 10-1 on the road, averaging 9.6. He's 4-1 with the big 3 healthy for Toronto, RJ, IQ, and Barnes. And Charlotte's allowing the 6th most rebounds per game to centers their last 30. So I really like the matchup. I think it should be a nice scoring one. And I think at +111, we got good value here on these two guys to do what they do.
I'll go next. And this guy, Mario, in the comments, pretty much hit the head on exactly what I'm going to circle around. Got to take the points. Raptors shouldn't be laying this number to anyone. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel. And we all know Toronto's a much better team than Charlotte, but I have it pulled up right here. If you look at the numbers from the last 10, Charlotte Hornets, dead last, 30th in overall net efficiency. Want to know who's 29th? Toronto. So, I mean, this team has really been playing poorly. Again, we know that overall, Toronto's a much better team than Charlotte, but laying 7.5 points on the road better, I'm going to say no. Also, there's actually a couple areas where I know it sounds crazy to even say this sentence. I kind of like the matchup for Charlotte. We're finally seeing the offensive rebounding numbers creep back for the Raptors, which have gone, if you have followed Raptors basketball, they're usually a good offensive rebounding team. Not so much this year, but we're finally seeing last 10 games, last 5 games, offensive rebounding numbers coming back. That's like Charlotte's only defensive strength is limiting offensive rebounds. They're second in the last 10 games. Charlotte's been decent defensively against the fast break. I mean, there's actually a couple. I'm not going to go on a rant about the Charlotte Hornets. They're terrible, but +7.5. The only thing that scares me is the line movement. It was at 5.5, 6, 6.5, 7, now 7.5. Clearly, some sharp money's coming in on the other side. On Toronto, maybe they're seeing something that I don't, but I'm on Charlotte here at the 7.5. Do you agree, Ski? Oh, you're muted.
My bad. I do agree with majority of what you said there, and it just comes down to Toronto shouldn't be laying. They're not playing good basketball right now. They've covered, I think, 4 of the last 12 games they've played, and you expect them to come in here and win by margin. The way that I look at a lot of games is if I want a team to win by margin, you have to at least be able to get stops. Toronto's the 3rd worst defensive rated team the last 5 games, and if you can't get any stops, like I said, how can I expect you to win by margin? So by default, I think that puts me towards the Charlotte side. They were playing extremely poor after they let go of Rozier. They are coming off of a cover, though. Maybe they can, parlay that with another one here tonight. I also would probably look at the total. I think without LaMelo, the pace is a little bit slower for this Charlotte team. Both teams, bottom 5, offensive rated teams the last 5 games. And just looking at how many points the Raptors allow, I have a system pretty much, and what it's saying is the amount of points that they average in road games is a lot more than what we're looking at tonight. So it's saying that the total is a little bit low for a reason. So either Charlotte or the under would be my recommendations in this game.
I remember, Prop Beaver, we did splits with and without LaMelo Ball on the court. And that, if you remember when we made that graphic, the biggest difference was the pace. It was like 4 less possessions per 100 or whatever without LaMelo Ball on the court. Does that make sense? So we got our poll. Hornets win. Hornets cleaned up. So our viewers are on the Hornets too. 52%, 27% Charlotte. So we are a Charlotte Hornets community, except for Prop Beaver. And you know what? I need to apologize. I made fun of your builder yesterday on the show, and it hit. So nice
the
builder.
Builders be smacking, bro. I used to make fun of them too. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, dude, actually, these things are kind of sick. And ESPN, for some reason, offers like crazy odds compared to every other book. So I just keep hitting them on there.
I feel like it's impossible to calculate if you're getting good value with those. That's why. I mean, you might be getting good value. I just don't know how you calculate it.
I mean, I'd be lying to you if I said I knew the exact calculated value I'm getting on these bets, but they keep doing well, so I like them. I've built a good relationship with the builders.
All right. Next up, Cleveland at Washington, and I hate my bet. I'm on it. I bet it. I gave it out last night. I'm not changing. I am on. Damn it. I am on Washington plus 11.5, and the reason I hate it, well, one, for the obvious reason that taking the Wizards at home is pretty much a suicide mission. I tried this. I took like Wizards plus 11 against the Clippers. It was like a week ago. Wasn't even actually the final score looks like it was close, but it wasn't close. Like they were getting blown out, and then they brought it back at the end. So let me put Wizards up under my face here. What I like about this. The Wizards' defensive strength is limiting the outside shot, specifically the above the break 3. Cleveland takes a lot of shots from out there. And we're talking about laying 11.5 points on the road with a team that might be limited in one of their favorite shot zones. Because they launch from out there. Dean Wade, Mitchell, they launch those above the break 3s. Washington's top 5 defensively in that zone. They're ass everywhere else, but they're actually top 5 in limiting that zone. Now, I get it. I don't know if Ski might be on Cleveland here. If his angle is going to be Cleveland should get all the buckets they want at the rim. I can't argue that. It's 11.5 points with a team that I kind of think has a decent defensive angle. That's all I got. Either you guys?
It's a tough one.
Ski,
and I'll say this. I agree with you that Wizards have been very poor. I have them as 7-4 team as a home dog this season. A lot better as road dogs. And I was actually on them in that Clippers game. I think it was plus 11. The thing I'll say that they have going for them in this game is, without repeating what you said, I can't back the Cavs because they're at a rest disadvantage and they play again tomorrow. So even if they're up in this game, they could pull some of their starters and save some of that energy for tomorrow, whereas I think Washington goes more all out. So in that kind of a situation, I could only grab the points here.
So you'd be Wizards or pass?
Wizards or pass.
Wizards or pass it is. I see we got a graphic here for a prop. That means Prop Beaver's got something for us.
Yeah. I don't know about the whole Wizards plus. I watched the 2 previous Cavs Wizards game because I had Allen over rebounds and assists in both of them, and it was a dismantling. The Wizards are pissed, and now they're going to have Mobley and Garland back. I don't know. I took Garland under 1.5 3-pointers made here. The one unit I would like to back on Washington is that newfound perimeter defensive success because they've been great lately. Garland's minutes have been increasing the past 4 games since he's returned from injury, but his volume notably has been very low. And I feel like if this is the current volume we're going to be seeing for this game potentially, it's just a great fade spot. He shot the ball 12, 10, 3, and 7 times overall his last 4 games, averaging just 8 field goal attempts, and he's averaging just 3.8 3-point attempts during that span as well. With 12 or less field goal attempts, he's 10-2 to the under this season, 6-0 to the under on the road, and 10-4 on the road since 2022. With 5 or less 3-pointers attempted, he's 10-5 to the under the season, 6-1 on the road, 16-9 on the road since 2022. So if he's getting that low volume, this has been very profitable. And now he's facing a Wizards defense that invites baskets in the interior, but over the last 10 games, they've allowed the 3rd fewest corner 3-pointers made and 3rd fewest above the break 3-pointers made. over the last 30 days against point guards specifically, they're allowing the third fewest points per game, lowest field goal percentage, and fewest three-pointers made to them. I think this is a game where we see Garland get busy driving to the paint, hitting that floater, dishing to guys in advantageous spots. I'm just not seeing him really picking and popping from outside. So minus 125 is a bit of juice, but I think it's worth it here with him probably being capped at 30 minutes again with them on a back-to-back.
EJ85 says, I swear Kyle loves pain. Cavs are going to run the Wizards out the arena tonight. Yeah, maybe. It's happened before. So our poll all over Cleveland. Looks like the community's heavy on the Cavs here. 57%, 27%. And our community isn't scared to take dogs. Dogs win the polls all the time here. Not this one. So they strongly disagree with me. 57%, 27% Cleveland. Next. Golden State at Philly. And hey, you guys know if you watch, I have not had the best luck when it comes to closing line value this year. But I got Golden State at 1, and I'm feeling like a genius, feeling like the man right now, holding the Golden State minus 1 ticket. Either you guys want to go first on this one? Because I really only have like one thing to say.
Ski, you can go first.
I'll share a couple of things. And my guy Wham, if you guys know, you see Wham on my shows, you know why I'll mention this. But Kelly Oubre over his 1.5 3-pointers or whatever his 3-point prop is, he's been cashing that like crazy. And also on the flip side, Kuminga has been a lot of the reason why Golden State's been having success lately. So his prop of 19.5 points, he's hit that, I believe, 9 of his last 10 games.
Wow.
As far as the game is concerned, if you got that Golden State just to win the game, you have a really good bet. I mean, no Embiid, possibly could be without Maxey. Sixers have looked really poor lately. I think they've covered, one of their last 5, something like that. So it does scare me, honestly, when I start to lay too many points with Golden State on the road, especially on the front end of a back-to-back. So at the current number, I don't think I can get there. With your bet, I think it's a winner.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I almost don't want to put the Warriors minus 5.5 graphic under my face because I don't think I would take it here. It's just the reason I bet Golden State minus 1 is not because I thought, I better beat the line before it moves. It wasn't anything like that. It was when I was making the video last night, one area where Philly's been getting absolutely cooked is above the break threes. And Golden State, like Cleveland, like Boston, they launched from out there. It was the same reason that I bet the Nets so heavy against Philly last weekend was because the Nets take a lot of shots from out there, and Philly's really been struggling against those perimeter shots. I mean, how can you bet a team that's struggling against perimeter shots in a Steph Curry game, especially when the Warriors are playing well on the road? So I'm comfortable with my Warriors minus 1 ticket. I guess, guns to my head, you got to bet this game right now. I guess I would still take Golden State at 5.5, but it's probably just a pass for me at this number as well. Prop Beaver?
Yeah, well, there's so many moving parts in this game for the 76ers, so couldn't really get to a side here or really many props, but something that I found, if Daniel House and or Morris Sr. sit, I'm likely going to be looking at a Jaden Springer steals over. We saw that game against Utah against Jordan Clarkson. The dude brought out the clamps. He's a stud defensively. He's 98th percentile in steal percentage, and the Warriors are bottom 10 in offensive turnover rate and steals per game allowed to opponents. With 19-plus minutes this season, he has a steal in 7 to 8 games, averaging 1.6, and 2+ in 3 of them, including 4 against none other than the Golden State Warriors at Golden State the last time they faced off. I'm just hoping we could get like a cheap price, like maybe minus 130 for over 0.5 steals, or we could get like a plus 200 on over 1.5 steals. That's ideally what I'm looking at here. But until that line drops, which will be 15 minutes before the game because that's the NBA, I won't have anything until then. So
you just gave out a Jaden Springer over steals prop. Deep tracks on this show.
Dude, I mean, it's a 7-game slate, not a 15-game. I got to look into the game and try to give a pick.
Jaden Springer.
He's digging them out there.
Yeah, deep cuts. Jaden Springer over steals is wild. All right, so 50%, 57%, 28%. As you would imagine, community's heavy on Golden State. Really hard to get behind Philadelphia right now. That being said, if you don't have a play and you're jumping in now at Philly plus 5.5, I can't say I even hate it. It's at this number, I don't know. Next game, Atlanta at Boston. Who wants to go first? Because I kind of want to hear what you guys say before I spew my nonsense.
You can start off.
Okay. Well, this game I felt a few different ways about. One, if you like the Atlanta side, you probably want to see DeJounte Murray's status because he is questionable. You know, they've been talking about trading him. But I want to try to get there with the Hawks. And the reason is they've been playing good basketball ever since Trae Young got the All-Star snub, even though he's an All-Star now. They've covered 3 of their last 4 games. They've been the number 1 offensive rated team in the last 5 games, and they've been the number 3 rebounding team. If they can do those things tonight, if Trae still comes and plays with that edge, I think they can keep it respectable versus Boston team. So 12.5 might be a little bit too much. I do know that the Celtics told us, they care about playing at home in front of their fans because they haven't been good in previous years. So that makes me a little nervous, but I just still think it's a little bit too many points. So I would be going with the Hawks for this game.
Ski's leaning Atlanta. I'm kind of leaning the other way, but probably you go first.
Yeah, I'm all over the Boston side here. I think they're going to actually wipe the floor with them. And I know Boston isn't playing their best basketball as of late. I know the Hawks are playing their best basketball to date recently. But just the matchup is just too horrendous for them in terms of the 3-point game. The Celtics, they live off the 3-ball, and the Hawks defense against the 3-ball lately has been truly atrocious. On top of that, Celtics love running in transition. The Hawks are horrendous defending in transition. I just think that they're going to be able to shoot them off the court. The other thing I want to mention, weird trend here, 2 days rest. The Boston Celtics have a offensive efficiency rate of 129.5 per 100 possessions. That is not only insane, it's 6 points higher than the second most efficient offense. That's why I'm leaning into Onyeka Okongwu rebound under. I took it at 7.5. It got up to plus 110 because DeJounte Murray got announced as questionable literally 5 minutes after I tweeted it, of course. Love to see that. But I think either way, if DeJounte Murray goes, he's aggressive on the glass. That helps us. If he doesn't go, I think it further leads to a potential blowout. And I just think this is an inflated line because without Capella, he's 2-1 this season to the under, averaging 6.7 rebounds per game. And then if we compare him on the season to without Capella, he's averaging 9 more minutes without Capella on the floor, but he's only averaging 1 more rebound chance per game, and he's averaging actually 0.1 less rebounds per game, despite those 9 extra minutes, but they're pricing him like there's this massive difference here. The results have virtually been the same, and he finds himself in a brutal spot here against Boston, who, with Kristaps Porzingis at the 5, always drag centers away from the basket. And that should really apply to Okongwu, too, because it's not like he's a traditional big where he just stays posted to the block. He's a power forward playing the 5, so he should be able to go out there and defend him. Last 30 days, Celtics allowing the 4th fewest rebounds per game to centers. And also Horford. If Holiday misses this game, then Horford's going to be on the court as well. That's another big, and it's another guy who's going to potentially drag you away from the basket. Everything that I'm seeing here, the fact that everybody and their mother's on Trae Young today, and that line was set super low to open. The fact that this line keeps getting bigger, DeJounte Murray getting added to the injury report. I just think it's going to be a blowout, and even if it isn't a blowout, Okongwu just played 35 minutes last game against the Clips, had 5 rebounds, so... yeah, I just don't think the Celtics are going to be missing many shots tonight.
Yeah.
Really quick, just to put some numbers to what he said. The Celtics do take and make a lot of threes. They're number 5 in 3-point percentage this season, and the Hawks are the 3rd worst defending the 3 on the season.
Right, and I feel like betting this game comes down to like 2 halves here. So I'm putting Boston minus 12.5 under my face here, but I didn't bet it. Drew Holiday and DeJounte Murray, I mean, it's tough to really make a final decision with 2 question marks like that. It's kind of like 2 halves to this. So on one half, I feel like on paper, it's a perfect matchup for Boston, and they should beat the hell out of them on paper based on the 2 types of basketball teams that they are, what the Hawks struggle with, what the Celtics excel at. So, I mean, they should win by 20 plus based on paper on the kind of teams they are. But if we isolate just the last 2 or 3 weeks, the line should probably be about Boston minus 4 because Atlanta's playing better and Boston hasn't looked their best. So it really goes on how you personally like to bet. Do you like to bet with recent trends, with recent data? Because if you're going off what we've seen the last 2 or 3 weeks, then Atlanta at 12.5 is probably the move. Personally, I want to get to the Boston side. This is the only, I think the only favorite I was leaning towards tonight was Boston, but I didn't bet it. It wasn't on the ticket I posted on the website. This will be one where when we find out who's injured, see what the line does, maybe throw something down before tip. I don't really feel too strongly about it. But our poll is dead split in this one. 42%, 41%. So There's no leans anywhere. Everyone's split down the middle in this one, which is crazy. I thought at 12.5, everyone would be flooding in on Atlanta, but there's still, man, this one's kind of crazy. Next, Spurs at Heat. All right. I know me and Ski briefly talked about this game right before we went live, so I know we're on the same side of this as this one. And I'll go first. My reasoning is this is just the epitome of 3 or 4 different things that I like to fade. Let's get my pick up there first. So I'm on the Spurs. Number 1, I like fading the Heat at home. Number 2, I like fading the Heat as a big favorite, right? The Heat laying 5 or more points the last 2 years has been a suicide mission. I mean, they've been terrible as big favorites. Number 3, getting the Heat on a back-to-back off a big win against a division rival. That game against the Magic was huge last night for the Heat. They follow it up with a non-conference game against a shitty Western Conference team. I'm saying like, the Heat don't care about this game. Not really what I'm saying, but in reality, if you look at their schedule, this is one of the less meaningful games. Spurs 6-2 against the spread in their last 8 on the road. They've been covering the number on the road. As far as the matchup on the court, Spurs should probably going to struggle to score some points here. But you know what? I've never been a big fan of the Miami offense, and Spurs defense has shown us some moments recently. So give me the 8 points. I'm on the Spurs, and I know Ski agrees, so I'll put it up for him as well.
Yeah, well, I want to touch on what you said because I feel the same way. When I think about Miami, like I don't want to be laying big numbers with them at home, especially on a back-to-back. So let me read this. Heat at home laying 6+ points in a non-divisional game.
Oh, I bet it's awful.
As 1, 14, and 1, 7% ATS. They failed to cover by 10 points per game, and this is dating back to last season. So
that was 1, 14, and 1.
Right. It backs up how we think about this Heat team, and they are on a back-to-back here. Yesterday's game wasn't that taxing, but the Spurs have had 3 days to rest before this one, and they were playing good basketball. So I would prefer to be with the more rested team playing the better basketball, in my opinion. And so far this season, the Heat have only covered 1 out of 6 games on a back-to-back. So everything kind of matches up to me to take the Spurs.
Yeah, I didn't even know it was that bad. I knew that fading the Heat, laying 5 or more points, has been profitable because I've been personally doing it. I didn't even know it was that bad. 1, 14, and 1. Prop Beaver, are you siding with your boy Wemby?
Sweep it up. Yeah, this Heat team just stinks on no rest. They're 29th in offensive efficiency, which is notable because they already have a pretty brutal matchup offensively. The Heat live in the paint this season. They're 1st in frequency, 3rd in efficiency. That's the Spurs' strength defensively. 5th in efficiency, 8th in frequency this season. That's where Wemby could get those long arms and block the shit out of you. And I just don't really love this Heat team and what I'm seeing from them right now. Sure, they looked good yesterday, but I thought it was more so just the Magic looking bad. Like, I don't really know what they were doing in that game. And while Haywood Highsmith coming off the court may help the Heat offensively, I think it's going to hurt them defensively. And I think Wemby could score some buckets here. So it's just hard for me not to take the 8+ with the Spurs in a spot that I really hate for Miami. And the Spurs are playing good basketball on the road lately, as you said, 6-2 against the spread their last 8 games, a complete flip of what they were earlier in the season.
Now, S-Dot, we're not listening, bro. For those who don't know S-Dot, he's a diehard Heat fan every single time.
That's my guy.
Oh, you know S-Dot? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He tries to come in here and convince everyone to bet the Heat every goddamn day. Not today. Not happening.
Not tonight.
Not tonight. So our poll is Spurs, baby. 57% of you said you would take the 8 points with San Antonio. Just 33% said you would lay with the Heat. So that's actually what me and Ski were talking about before. We know that this is definitely going to be a bit of a public dog because a lot of people are seeing the back-to-back. A lot of people don't trust the Heat right now. Don't care. Still taking it.
A public dog cash last night, the Jazz.
Yeah, they sure did. I was on Oklahoma City.
I was too.
Oh, were you? The Suns came through, and through the 2.5 quarters of that game, I was like, I know I'm losing this bet. But they came through it then. So we got the Pistons. I believe this one's at 13.5 now, which is another one where it's like, did I make a mistake here? I mean, maybe it's the injuries looming. Ski had mentioned right before we went live that you're on the Pistons too. I am as well. So would you play this now or wait for injuries? How would you do this?
I'm fine with either one. I mean, if you play it now and guys get ruled in, obviously you're going to get the best of the number. And if they get ruled out, you're not. But I think they're fine regardless. This Sacramento team is, I'll start and just say, this is not the kind of team that you can lay double digits with and expect to get to the window. When you lay that kind of a number, I think I mentioned it earlier. You have to do two things for me. You have to shoot the three well, defend the three well. That's how you create separation. The Kings do neither well, and they're actually the second worst team defending the three on the season. They're 1-3. ATS has a double-digit favorite this season, and they're coming back home off of a 7-game road trip. That's a flat spot if I ever seen one. You come back home, you have to take care of the house and all your other responsibilities. So I think that's a fade spot for the Kings. And this Pistons team, they've been playing good basketball lately. They've covered, 9 of their last 11? As a double-digit dog, they've covered 6 straight. And if they've been a double-digit dog during this season with the rest advantage, they're 2-0 against the spread. They've been the better offensive team and rebounding team the last 5 games. I see no reason to go against the Pistons plus the 13.5. I think they definitely keep it respectable tonight.
That's almost identical to the notes I have written for this game, with one addition. Kings also have Denver Nuggets on deck. So that's even bigger one. Not only are they coming home from a 7-game road trip, but you got a game against a shitty Eastern Conference team with the Nuggets, the champions, on deck. Look, the line movement is telling a story here. Clearly, there's, I don't know if it's sharp money, professionals, whatever. Clearly, someone's betting this number up. So maybe we're just getting caught falling for this. But there's just no way I could even consider laying 13.5 points with the Kings. That sounds crazy to me. I don't even know. I swear to God, I'd probably be on Detroit at plus 6.5. Like, I wouldn't even lay 6.5 with the Kings. This sounds nuts to me. And I almost would feel more comfortable if it was 6.5. It would feel like more of a sharp play. At 13.5, it's like, what am I doing? Am I an idiot? Like, what's going on here? Prop Beaver, are you joining us on Pistons Island?
Sweep it up. Sweep it up.
There you
Absolutely.
go.
You guys pretty much nailed everything that I have written here. The only thing I wanted to add, the Detroit Pistons' best shot zone is the paint. The Kings' main defensive weakness is protecting the paint. Now, with the line, it is a bit bigger than I would expect it to be, but Cade Cunningham's questionable. I personally don't think he's going to play. They have it listed as injury management. Usually guys don't play when they're listed as injury management because there is no injury. It's just you're managing the guy's time on the court. I'm assuming he's probably not going to play tonight. That's the reason for the big number. But probably another reason for the big number is that the last time these two teams faced off, the Kings beat the shit out of them. In the first quarter, I think the Pistons scored 40 points or something like that. And that was without
I remember
Cade
that.
and Bohan. Yeah, and then they just completely filled it down the stretch.
That was the Kings,
so,
right. I remember that game.
Yeah, but I'd be willing to run that back even if Cade and Bohan don't play here because they showed that potential in the first half. The Kings are looking weaker lately. The Pistons have really hit their stride. So I would still be willing to play that number. Like, if this got to 15.5, sign me the hell up without Cade and Cunningham. Cade and Bohan. I don't really give a damn. The one prop I want to mention in this one, and that is if Cade doesn't play, which I don't think will happen. Alec Burks. He's seeing the biggest jump in usage with Cade Cunningham off the floor. Sees a 7.2% usage bump, which is massive, registering a 26% usage rate, which is quite high. Third on the team behind Avi and Bogdanovic. 9 games without Cade this season. He's averaging 25 minutes per game, 18 points per game, 13 field goal attempts, and 8 3-point attempts. And as Ski mentioned earlier, this Kings team is horrific at defending the 3 ball. They're 27th in 3-point made allowed and 28th in 3-point efficiency over those last 10 games. Alec Burke shoots 55% of his shots from outside as well, so perfect matchup there. On top of that, this Kings team has been getting cooked by shooting guards over the last 30 days, allowing the 7th most points per game, 5th highest field goal percentage, and 2nd most 3-pointers made. The last 5 times he squared off against Sacramento with just 9+ field goal attempts, he had 16, 16, 5, 21, and 24 points. So I'm hoping Cade gets ruled out here and I could catch a nice number with Alec Burks coming off the bench, get a little bit of a discount like we did with Rui Hachimura that one night without AD. I would just be playing the injury split there.
Something to add. Ski actually told us this before the show. Pistons, was it 7-2 against the spread without Cade? So
Absolutely.
So they've covered the number plenty. 7-2 against the spread without Cade Cunningham. Also, now I know some people don't love these because they date back multiple years. I would tend to agree with you that they might be a little meaningless, but Detroit is also 4-0 against the spread their last 4 trips out to Sacramento. They've had no problem coming out to Sacramento in the past. Now, that probably dates back 4 years, so, like, who cares? But, hey, thought it was worth mentioning.
Well, the Pistons have been terrible for like 4 years, so.
Yeah, and they're still handling businesses in Sacramento, so. Our poll is all over the Pistons. 66% of you said you would take the Pistons. Shipley's starting to riot. We have a diehard Detroit Pistons fans that watch us every day, Shipley. This is your moment, Shipley, because I did put a small bet on Pistons money line. Not even.
I think it's worth it.
And I'm not going to say like just for fun, because I do think it's like a good value. I think they have a shot. That being said, like, do I think it's going to hit? It's a different question. All right, we got one game remaining. Pelicans at Clippers, and this is another one where we're waiting on injuries. But I'm already decided I'm gonna be on the Pelicans.
Something to add, by the way, real quick, because I just got the update for it. Monty Morris literally just got traded to the Timberwolves, and he's been stealing some usage away from Burks lately. So if he's gone and Cunningham's out, only hurts Burks more.
All right, cool. But the props aren't open. Lines aren't open for Burks yet, right?
No, we'll be open later tonight, probably 15 minutes before the game, because that's what they do.
All right, so for this one, I'll put the Pelicans up. I actually did bet it. I got it at 7, so I'm in on Pelicans plus 7. Am I thrilled about the idea of jumping in front of this Clippers train right now? No. Part of me thinks it's just going to steamroll me because the Clippers are that good. They've been covering the number at an extremely high rate. If you're a Clippers fan in the comments, I'm not trying to insult you here. But there's a couple things I really like here. First of all, I've definitely turned a really nice profit this year betting the Pelicans as road dogs. They're 9-4-1 against the spread as road dogs. And I personally, I don't have it offhand. I bet you I'm like 7-2 betting those. I feel like I've always been on the Pelicans as road dogs, and they've always treated me well. That's starter number one. That's to start us out. And also, and this again, a little bit dating back a couple years, people might not like it. Pelicans have owned the Clippers. They're 11-2, I believe, in their last 13 games against the Clippers. 9-3 in their last 12 trips out to LA. So they've been excellent against the Clippers, excellent on the road against the Clippers. And look, I think this might be a little bit of a sell high spot for the Clippers. I'll say it. Look, the Clippers look awesome. They've played a pretty easy schedule over the last month. There's a lot of cupcake games in there. And I think this Clippers team truly is one of the best in the West, but I think the Pelicans are right there with them. So 6.5 is a lot, and I think it's a bit of a sell high. I think the Pelicans are live. Ski, do you agree with me? I don't know what you're picking on this one. We didn't talk about this one.
I was trying to look up a little bit of information, but when you were talking about the Pelicans owning the Clippers, I don't know if it's Willie Green coached the Clippers or played over there, or it's something with Willie Green.
He played for the Clippers.
He played for the Clippers?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's just what was coming to my mind when you said that. I was trying to figure it out. But I do lean towards the Pelicans here. And the only thing I would say is a lot of these games, they haven't been able to play for a full 48 minutes. So I would just think you might want to chop it in half for, 24. Maybe take the Pelicans first half plus 3.5. They have been the better defense last 5 games, the better rebounding team. And like I've been mentioning all show, Clippers, well, I'll say this. Clippers are 23rd defensive rated team last 5 games. And if you're not getting stops, I can't really expect you to win by any kind of a margin. I know a lot of that is probably because of that Atlanta game, but
right.
I think the Pelicans are good enough to keep this one close for at least 24 minutes. So I'll go first half plus 3.5.
So hold on, you like Pelicans first half? Pelicans first half was money earlier in the season.
I was just about to say, I was looking it up for him. The Pelicans first half is the second most profitable first half spread in the league. If you bet it every game this season, a unit on it, you'd be up 13.3 units.
Yeah, well, there was like a whole Pelicans first half like posse in the Discord. They were betting that, like there was a group of 12 of them betting that every single night. Yeah. So I knew it was cash.
I mean, it's 4-6 their last 10 games, so maybe that's fallen off a bit, but still, just from a season-long standpoint, it's been quite profitable. So I don't think that's a bad idea. I actually think that's a pretty good idea.
Would you look towards the Pellies here, Prop Eater?
Yeah, I didn't really get to give this game the greatest of a look, but just purely due to the fact that the Pelicans do own the Clippers. Everybody loves them some Clippers right now. I don't blame them. They're playing phenomenally. But I just don't think these two teams are that far apart, as crazy as it sounds. You're getting the Pelicans on the road where for some reason they just seem to perform better. And they got their ass beat by the Clippers the last time they played, so they should be really motivated for this one. Shut down those guys. I might play a Kawhi under here. I don't know if I want to test my luck.
You just hit a Kawhi unders. Yeah.
Yeah, but the guy's hot as hell. It's his only under in his last 10 games that I hit. So that's cool. But like, I don't know if I want to be that ballsy again. We'll see. But yeah, I feel like you got to lean Pelicans here in the points.
Okay. Lean Pelicans in the points. So we're all leaning Pelicans there. Skis on the first half. And the community is also leaning Pelicans. You'll love to see it. 47%, 43% in favor of New Orleans. So let's get to the community parlay. So the community parlay is I put up polls, everyone votes on legs, and we narrow it down to everyone's 4 favorite money lines, and then we all bet it and usually lose. But it's fun.
So money line parlay.
Plus 200 or less odds, yeah.
So what I do is I go by the poll winners. So Hornets money line, because Hornets won the poll. Wizards, we'll put Cavs money line in there, even though that's going to be Warriors money line, definitely, because they voted for Warriors. Hawks, Celtics, that one was split. Hawks won the poll, so let's do it Hawks plus 12.5 as an option there. All right, first polls, running cast, your votes. By the way, Ski, just in case everyone wants to check out your show, what time do you post your stuff? If they wanted to check you out on YouTube and watch your stuff, where would they do it?
Yeah, all of my work, I usually tweet it out. You can find me on, X now, at Ski Profit. And I do my show on YouTube at 10:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So,
and it's a live
early on the West
stream?
Coast, live stream, have a chat just like I see right here on the screen. And we talk the games out together. I like to say all of us first the book. So that's how my show is done.
That's the way it should be. So Cavs and Warriors. So we'll give it another few seconds for this first leg.
So it's money lines, correct?
Yeah. So Cavs and Warriors tied. So let's put that in. So here was yesterday's. Looks like Orlando busted. Oh, and Oklahoma City. So we had 2 busted yesterdays. Sometimes the community gets hot. Because like every single day, it's obviously very likely an extremely square parlay. But it actually hits at a weird rate sometimes. Missed yesterday. So Cavs and Warriors. And then let's see what the rest of our options are. They voted for Spurs. So let's go Spurs money line. They voted for Pistons. Pistons money line. Shipley, just stop. That's not going to be in there. So, you know what? We're going to change it to Pistons plus 13.5. So it's got a chance of being in there. So this actually started, we were arguing on the MLB show, and then we were like, fine, let the people settle it. That's how it started. And then
nice.
We do it every day now. Kind of happened by accident.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah. Pistons is winning. Pistons is going to be in the community parlay. This is Shipley's entire season is made right now. they haven't made the community parlay once all year, and it looks like they're going to make it. Yeah, Pistons are in, and we'll do one more poll. So it's Cavs money line, Warriors money line, Pistons plus 13.5. Proppy, do you have a sports book open?
It's open.
Thank you. And then the last one will be between Pelicans, Spurs, and Hawks plus 12.5. Those are the 3 you voted. So Pelicans money line, Spurs money line, and then we'll do Hawks plus the 12.5. What is the last leg of this parlay going to be? Cast your votes. It looks like the community's leaning towards Pelicans here. That'll juice in the payout up. Give it another few seconds. Yeah, Spurs are not going to make it. It's Pelicans or Hawks, and it's close. So I'm going to give it another. Spurs money line is out. Even though I think the Spurs are going to be live, but 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, end poll. And it is Pelicans. Prop Beaver, the odds, please.
Okay, so add the Pelicans. Pelicans money line, right?
Yep.
Plus 932.
Ooh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
So we have the community parlay for the day. Cavs money line, Warriors money line, Pistons money line, Pelicans money line plus 932. A bit of a home run swing from the community here. Everyone, thanks for watching. We'll be back tomorrow. College basketball 3 p.m., NBA 4 p.m., ski 10:30 a.m. on YouTube. All right, and
yes,
if that's his Twitter right there on the screen. So I'm sure he posts about it. You can find it in his bio if you can't find it where it is. Everyone, have a good one. Let's make some money tonight. Remember to bet responsibly.